Hello, this is Games Are Hard. We're going to be talking about Arms today. I'm joined by Lucas, the best beard in the business, and Torri. I don't know what Steven says about Torri, but I'm sure he says something. And yeah, we'll jump right into what we thought of Arms after our time with the Global Testpunch, which is
beautiful name, by the way. Beautiful name.
Yes. This is where Nintendo opened up their servers, allowed everyone to download a demo, and they allowed everyone to play 8 characters on, I think, 4 different stages.
Why don't we talk about each individual mode?
Anyways, yes, I think that's where we want to start off here. So the first, and this is the main mode of Arms, it's just called Fight, and this is each character has a health bar, and you're trying to deplete your opponent's health bar to 0, and before they deplete yours to 0.
Like in any other fighting game except Smash Brothers.
That's right. I don't know. I've found that it's a little simpler, probably, to get the hang of than other fighting games, and I would say that probably, my guess is that the game probably won't have as much depth as some of the more robust fighting games.
I would think so on the surface, but I was reading that like some people were like just like mashing punches, but like and that was not working for them at all. Because
definitely.
There's probably a lot more hidden tech than we think, but like
this is not Wii boxing. No, this is not Wii boxing.
It's not.
Yeah, like in fact, like your punches take at least a second to hit, so you can't just go like spamming the punches.
And I think that the purpose of the test punch was to show that it's not Wii boxing.
Yes, I definitely think that was a smart move on them, because I do feel like a lot of people are like, oh, this is just Wii boxing rebranded with new characters. On the note of depth, though, every character has 3 arms, or at least in the test punch, they had 3 arms that you can select from, and each hand can be a different arm. And so with different combinations, different arms work different ways. And I think in the final game, every character is going to have a lot more than 3.
I thought it was they had 3 to start with, and then you could customize.
Yeah.
From what I think, from what I've seen in screenshots, I think it's like 6 or 7 different arms, but you can only bring 3 with you into battle.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Yeah, they start with 3, and you unlock more as the game goes on, but we don't exactly know how those ones that you unlock work. That said, one of the big things is that every character is unique, which adds a little bit of depth to the game as far as what your character you're going into the battle with. And I also can see the 3 that you select at the start of that to have with you at the start of the battles. That's going to play a big role too, because I found on there's one stage that had these large test tubes that you could hide behind but fire punches around.
They also broke.
They did also break, and we'll get to that. But I, on those stages, chose arms that curved better. So there's like the boomerang arm, or the ram, which is like what's the... Chakram, yeah. It was a chakram or a boomerang, which can curve around those very well. So you can actually stand behind it and still fire around it and hit your opponent. So on those stages, I chose those arms more often than I did on other stages. And also depending on who I was playing against. For example, one of the characters, Helix, had a large shield. And if I was playing against him, once again, I'd play the ones that would curve around rather than the ones that were straight punches, which I was normally playing. So I could see there being a lot of, not even just in-game as far as skill, but like tactical depth as far as knowing when you start the battle, if you're up against a certain person, what loadout you should be choosing. My one issue with that, though, is that you can see you have 10 seconds to choose your arms, and you can see what your opponent is doing until you lock it in, and until they lock it in, you can completely change it.
Right.
And I feel that that's going to cause some real issues, because I can totally see certain things like countering other arms.
I can't see it being that much of an issue. I could see it being an issue if you could change your character after seeing other people, but I think like some characters have arms that are similar. So like there's the bird arm, it curves just like the boomerang arm. Like
that's actually an interesting one.
They do the same things, they're just different
we'll talk
styles
about
of arms.
We'll talk about the bird and the boomerang later, because I did notice a big difference.
I feel like in a competitive scene, I think people would wait out the 10 seconds that you have to like thing, right? So nothing's really
I don't
much
know.
who can hold up
It also
longest.
could be that, like, we were playing like the party mode, which is, you know, a very
Right.
casual mode. It could be in the ranked mode, is that you don't get to see your opponent until you select the two that you're using. Like, you might get to see your opponent has these 3 arms that they are at disposal, but you don't actually see which ones they're selecting.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It doesn't refresh until you've locked in.
Yes, I could see that. Like, it not even showing you like the screen it showed. I could just see like a still with you know, your character with the 3 arms you have ready, and their character with the 3 arms you have ready, and you just
I think it'd be like more like what we saw, but instead of like it actually updating in live time, that it just updated after you locked in or the time ran out.
I do hope though that for the tactical advantage, you see what 3 they have. And competitive, the digital competitive Pokemon scene, this is one of the big things, is that you're allowed you bring 6 Pokemon with you, but you're only allowed to actually battle with 4 in each battle. And the 4 you select is always based on the 4 that your opponent has. And so it's always an interesting like question, like, so their 4 that they use, their best 4 are probably these 4, and then my best 4 to counter those 4 are these 4, but they're going to do the exact same thing, choosing the best 4 to counter my best 4. And so I see that being an interesting little addition to the depth of the game. And this was a little interesting, as I felt like grabs did a lot more damage than singular punches.
I mean, singular on charge
They-
punches, yes. I felt like that was a clear difference, but like a charged punch dealt like almost the same damage as a grab.
So right now, this might also be because the game's new, we're not very skilled at it, but right now it seems like grabs are like in a very large part of combat.
Definitely.
And you're going to be wanting to go for grabs even if your opponent isn't shielding. That's what it seems like right now. Also depending on which character you're playing, because different characters do different amount of damage and grab in different ways. Now, also, as you punch, every punch you land, I think sometimes when you get hit, your special meter charges up. Correct?
Yeah.
And so the special causes your arms go into a special mode, which isn't charged, but it's similar to charged. Usually it allows you to fire a bunch at once, but there's some arms where it just...
I think it's more
goes.
rapid and it does more damage.
Yes, it depends on the arms, because the megatons they move slower, but they hit multiple times after they hit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So, anyways, that's basically it's a big advantage, and this is another thing that's really decides the battle. I found is that first of all, usually you'll almost always get one of these charges off. If you get a second one off and you hit both those times, I think you basically have guaranteed victory. But
Just charges?
No, the specials. But the big thing is landing these. And I found, like, at the start, as soon as people got their special, they just like go with it, right? And that worked. But as people got more skilled at the game, people found out how to dodge these specials and how to like shield against them, or different ways of countering them. And then it became a lot more interesting about when you actually use your charge, because you want that charge to hit, and if that charge misses and your opponent gets a charge and they hit you, like, you've got to be doing really well to come back from that. So that's going to be I feel like that's going to be one of the biggest parts of the game, is knowing when to release your charge. At least that's what I've seen so far. So there's actually multiple different fight modes. So we're just talking about the one-on-one fight mode there. So there's also the team fight mode, where it's 2-on-2. In this 2v2 mode, when someone grabs you, there's a split second before they actually do any damage to you, and if your teammate can hit the opponent that grabbed you and stun them before they actually finish their grab, the grab doesn't do any damage. So in the 2v2 mode, I found that grabs are far less effective than they were in the 1v1. I don't know, that's just what I found. I don't know.
Really? Because I found that, like, as soon as I got a grab off, it threw off the other teammate entirely.
Who were you
on
playing?
the opponents.
I could have not known that
like,
did that,
I was like
though.
playing one player, but like
No, yeah,
whenever I
but-
got matched up in 2v2s.
Yeah, 2v2s. What character
Like
were you
Min
playing?
Min. Or not even just Min Min, but Mechanica.
I don't know. I've played both Min Min.
Mechanica?
Mechanica.
I played Mechanica and Min Min a lot too, and I
Mechanica.
felt like
Yeah.
the Ninjara's grab was fast enough that I feel like you could get it off, but Min Min and Mechanica I felt was slow, that if the enemy knew what you were doing, they could hit you before you actually finished your grab, and then it wouldn't do any damage. I don't know. Well, we'll see. That's something up for debate right now. I don't know. Personally, I just felt like grabs were less effective in that mode. the other thing, and this also applies to the 2v2, there's a 4-player or 3-player free-for-all, where there's 4 people in the ring, no one's on teams, it's just battle whoever you want. And I found a huge flaw in this mode.
Horrible.
This is, especially the 3 free-for-all.
I didn't play the first weekend, so I'm pretty, like, and
That wasn't okay.
When you're playing, you automatically lock on to one of the players.
Yeah.
So one of the players is behind you or beside you, and the other player is in front of you, and they can just, like, the player beside you that you're not locked onto can just sneak up to you and, like, KO you super easily. It's really dumb.
So you can control who you lock onto, but that takes time. And so it's to your advantage not to control who you're locked onto unless there's someone who's really high in HP and there's 2 people, like, it's the old, like, you know, defeat the person who's highest, because if the other person you're fighting dies, you have to then fight the last person remaining. And so you want that person to be as low health as possible. So you want to balance everything out. But it takes time to actually switch your targets. So at the start, especially on the 4-player free for all, you always were matched up with a person directly across from you. So there's 2 people fighting each other, basically. 2 1v1 matches going on at the same time. It was sort of weird, but you could deflect each other's punches, and eventually you start moving around the map, and people get hit by other people's punches. Anyways, there's that. But on the 3 free-for-all, it was completely random who you'd start looking at. And so some people would sometimes have 2 people starting to be looking at them, and they're only targeting one other person. And so this gives one person a major disadvantage and one person a major advantage because there's nobody attacking them. Right. And so I just found that mode, it's garbage. I could see local player, that would be alright, but I would not ever want to play that online. Right. Like, that was just awful. We'll move on to V-Ball, which is like volleyball, but it's called V-Ball. Yes, you were not there the first weekend.
Like a volley.
So this is the mode I probably like the least.
Really?
Yeah. Even though it was more fair than the 4-player free for all and the 3-player free for all, I like those modes. I like that better than this mode.
Really?
Yes. So it wasn't that difficult to hit the ball, for the most part.
There were characters that were a lot better at the volleyball mode than other characters. And also, the worst thing was when the ball would time out and it would just fall, or there was a time that we were playing and the ball just kind of fell and we could, the other team couldn't get it up and it just exploded, timed out and exploded.
See, it fell down onto their ground, but it didn't register that it actually hit the ground.
So it just
sat there. Oh. That was a bug. So I mean, whatever. But this is the other thing, is that there's a time. So it's like a game of volleyball. You know, we go back and forth. If it doesn't hit the ground within 30 seconds, just after 30 seconds, whoever's side of the net it's on, it just instantly drops to the ground. And so it's like hot potato. It becomes a game of hot potato. Who can at the end of 30 seconds, who can not have this? So what I feel people were doing where they were just stalling, keeping it on their side of the net, and then punching it over, or maybe people weren't doing this, but it's something people can do. Right. And I knew that when the 30 seconds was approaching, people were definitely doing that. And I feel like if you get good at it, you can do it for the whole 30 seconds. And so it just sort of ruined the mode.
The cool thing about it is when you set the ball, either side could.
That's the other thing. Your arms could go over top of the net, and that's sort of cool. But in the end, that wears off quickly. That feeling. The one character though, Mechanica, has this hammer that just plops the ball straight down. It was so OP. I was playing Mechanica that whole first test fire, and it was. I went undefeated in the volleyball mode because that is so OP. That hammer just plops it straight down. Anyways, that's V-Ball, particular order. And we'll get to hoops. But skill shot.
Skill shot's not hoops?
No, skill shot. There's a bunch of targets moving back and forth. And you gotta fire your punches to hit the targets. And then you can also score points by hitting your opponents. But, I don't know, I really felt like this mode... at the end, I'd see the score, I'm like, wow, that was a big difference in score. I didn't feel like I was doing that much better than the opponent, or I didn't feel the opponent was doing that much better than us. It really didn't feel like what you're doing in the game related to your score at the end. And so that, for me, that was a big disconnect, and I didn't like that mode a whole lot. It was all right. It was better than V-Ball and better than the free-for-all, 3-player free-for-all, but
Right.
it was just sort of meh for me. So, then hoops. Now this is what a proper secondary mode. This is a proper secondary mode. And I only played it like twice.
Man. I played it a lot. It was one of my favorites.
Okay.
I haven't played it.
So
But
from my
grabs are life.
from my understanding is what there is a basketball net, and you're trying to get the opponent into that basketball net, and you score a point every time you get the opponent into
By
the net.
grabbing them.
2 points if you're within like the 3-point line, and 3 points on the
Okay,
outside.
so this is something I wasn't aware of. There's different points depending on how far away you are from the net, apparently.
Yes.
And I believe if you grab them, it's an instant plop into the net.
Almost instant. If you're like right underneath the net, it's instant because they dunk, like not near the net. Like it's like very likely. And then if
Okay,
you're outside
because
3 points, it's like
I
not
do
likely.
remember my opponent not going in once. I was like, I think that was a bug, but maybe that was intentional. All right. The other thing is, and I only saw this happen when a special went off, is that you can hit the opponent enough that they'll hit off one of the bumpers at the side of the arena and bump them into the net.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you can also do that by just punching regularly. But I only saw that when somebody actually did their special.
I don't think so, because I think I saw some people like using like deliberately jumping on it to like dodge my punches on the outside.
I don't know. I almost feel like you might have a certain amount of health, and then you get hit onto those
It doesn't have a
bumpers.
health bar, does it?
It doesn't have a health bar, but there might be hidden, like you have this much health,
There is-
and then
there is,
you...
like some sort of like health like does play a huge difference, because like if you're on the if you're outside the 3-pointer line, you have to land a few punches in order to like guarantee a 3-point shot.
Okay, that was the other thing I was a bit concerned on this mode is that punches were near useless other than deflecting grabs. But apparently there is a reason why you want to do some damage to your opponent
Like,
before you grab them.
I always start by landing like 2-3 punches, and hopefully they come to outside the 3-point line, and then I grab them. Oh no, not actually. I didn't even have to wait for them. Like I usually would just do a couple punches, do a grab outside 3-pointer. They'd go in 3 points. Boom. Have you ever like won based on getting more points?
That's how I always won.
I see. Because like
Was there another way to win?
Because like you just have the most points at the end of a timer, but like if you get over 10 points,
Oh,
it's an automatic.
oh, okay. Sorry, no, I never got to the 10-point thing. That was the same in V-Ball. If you get to 5 points, you immediately win, and that felt like a victory. When it went to the timer, it just wherever the ball was instantly dropped. Like it wasn't even the 30-second thing. It was just wherever the ball was instantly dropped, and I hated that. I think that final ball should be on like an overtime mode where it goes until it drops. Or if you want to implement that 30-second timer, sure, people can plan for that. I mean, people can plan for the end timer as well. But it was just dumb because like if you were like 3 seconds left on the clock and then you scored, you'd have 3 seconds and the ball would spawn, and it was literally like just who hit that ball first. And where there was one where neither of us hit it and it just dropped onto our side. Neither person hit it and it just decided to drop onto our side. And so like that was just dumb. But I guess hoops is the same way.
Oh,
The hoops timer made sense though.
what I think I forgot to mention is very important in the fighting mode is a difference between your partner being KO'd and the other team being KO'd. Because Robert got KO'd, and I thought it was the other team, so I thought I won, and I was just sitting there, you know,
It does say on
in
the
my
screen.
glory.
It does say on the
Okay,
screen.
but you just look at KO, like the big
yeah.
KO could be like a different color, but it's not. It's just it looks the same.
Yeah.
Robert lost us the game, but by the way, just
Yes,
putting that out there.
if people are wondering, Torri by far is the superior arms player here. I don't know if from you guys playing you saw.
Wasn't trash, but I was not godlike.
Oh, did you see Tori's Ribbon Girl? Like, yeah. Oh man, that was I don't know. Maybe you were
I
playing.
played Twin Tello.
Oh, you
a
played more
lot,
Twin Tell?
yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't see you play Twin Tell. You might even be better
Okay.
at Twin Tell. Anyways, so and then the final mode that they showed was a boss battle mode.
Versus headlock.
Yes, headlock. So actually, headlock
Very cool.
is this head that just goes on top of another character, and
Has 6 arms.
his head has 4 arms, but then the character he's on top of also has a set of arms, so 6
But they're
in
the
total.
same on each side.
I guess it's depending on the level how many arms he has. Because like
Is
I've
it?
seen like him have 6 arms, and like sometimes he has 4 arms.
Oh, okay.
I've played level 4, which is easy, and then there's a jump to level 5, and it's like untouchable for no reason.
See, I
I
did
have
not.
never beat a level 5.
I might have not been paying much attention to the level of it, but I did feel like sometimes they were very easy. I didn't feel like any time it was completely unbeatable though. I don't know. I might have just never
But
played.
to be fair, Ribbon Girl is a very fast, no attack character.
Yeah, see, that was the other thing, is
So-
that grabs are not very good in this mode because he has 6
No.
arms, 8
Like,
arms.
I mean, you can get the grabs off. They just don't do very much damage.
Well,
they
they-
don't do as much damage as the fight mode.
Well, they do, but it's just
No,
he
they
has more
don't.
health.
Like
Oh.
the grabs, like when
It looks like.
you land the grab and then and no one else can deal damage
Yeah,
at that point,
yeah.
which is
The
the big
worst.
issue.
And there's a timer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The absolute worst is when your teammates hit you instead of the. It's
Yes.
just this. I don't.
Yeah.
Wow, it's so fun.
So I felt that mode got pretty old.
Really?
It was interesting first few times, but I didn't want to play that more than 3 times probably, and
Oh.
in the test fire I might have played it upwards of 10. So
I mean, I don't know if we had voice communication with that or something, like some way to like communicate, like, oh hey,
Don't
I'm
hit
ready.
me.
I'm ready to use my special. We should all use our specials around the same
Yeah.
time. So like that was like usually what.
Or
decided whether we
it'd be
wanted
more
that.
of like I'm using my special. Don't grab him.
see,
You know.
Exactly.
the
Because
thing-
people will grab
yeah,
them while you're
yeah.
doing your special, and you're like, excuse me.
yeah.
I,
The thing with it is that it's controlled by an AI, so it's always the same. Like it's like when you're playing against a person, right? You play one Ninjara, it's completely different than another Ninjara. Like I saw completely different strats across many, like the same characters, and so that was interesting because every time it was different. Whereas this is controlled by an AI, so it's the same, like does whatever algorithm of punches or whatever it does every time. And I'm not saying like it's predictable, but it's the same sort of play style. And then second of all, their actual character that they are doesn't actually play any role in what they can do. Like it's deadlock. It's the same character every time, right? Like even like you saw that he was a head on top of another character,
Yeah.
right? But I don't think he actually got the ability of the character he was
I think
on.
they didn't get the ability of the character, but I think it influenced what arms they had in general.
No, I don't think so because
Some of them, I'm pretty sure.
maybe, I don't know. The one interesting time was when I played where the one side of him had the shields from Helix. That was an interesting game because there's 3 shields at all times protecting him.
What character was he?
I have no idea what he was underneath, but I remember the 3 shields, and that was an interesting game, I'll tell you that. But otherwise, they all felt really the same. If they didn't have like a shield arm, they all felt pretty much the same. Because you can't, like, because there's 6 arms coming at you, it's not like you can deflect them as you can when you're playing like a one-on-one battle.
Right.
Like, you can deflect them, but there's going to be more coming faster than you can deflect them. So I found that was the other thing. I found that a lot of the strategy that went into a one-on-one battle was just lost because I felt that was, if you're wanting Wii boxing, you want to play the boss battle because that's what it was. There was not a lot of strategy. Like it was all, dodge out of the way of his punches for a bit, try and land a punch, and just get out of the way before he punches you. Like it wasn't so much like, oh, he's gonna fire that punch, and if I use my parasol right now, that's gonna deflect it. But if I save my parasol, I can deflect the other thing, or I can damage him now. Like when I was playing one-on-ones, there was a lot of things I was thinking about. Whereas this, I just hit the guy. So that's what I felt about the boss battles. I'm assuming there's gonna be more than one boss.
I hope so.
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure there is.
Because I would be very surprised if they just here's the boss before the game actually releases. Like, you get to play the boss.
Well, that'd be pretty like a mediocre, just weak final boss. So
Yeah.
there has to be more than just that boss. But I don't know if they'll show up in the multiplayer.
Just 6 arms of shields.
See, that's
Like
they never doubled up on both sides.
No. Funny.
That's the other thing I was wondering. Like, is this a multiplayer mode, or do you face this guy single player?
I feel like you could. I feel like this is something that is explained in the single player.
Okay.
It has to be.
I'm assuming you'd have less health, but then you could feasibly fight him with
Yeah.
one-on-one, yeah.
Yeah.
Which might actually be more interesting than the 1-on-3. So, that was all the modes. As far as game modes, was there anything else we wanted to talk about?
I
Don't
think
play
so.
with Robert.
Alright, well, we will move on to characters. As far as the characters, they all have one sort of like specialty, and this is the big thing the game advertises them as, making them different. But if you ask me, the thing that really differentiates the characters is the arms they have and their grab. Their little specialty I did not find played a big role. I don't know about you guys. We can talk if one did feel like it played a big role. You can talk about it when it gets to it. There's a bunch of different types of weapons in the game, and I gotta say, my favorite was not the electric, although I didn't play my favorite, was whatever Helix had, which was like the blob thing. When it hits your screen, it just covers it in slime, and you cannot see anything. Like, I'm not talking about blooper, this is not blooper Mario Kart. This is like your screen is covered in slime, you cannot see anything. That was my favorite. But as far as actually usable, because that arm I did not like at all, was all the electric weapons. I really liked when it just took their arms out of commission, because then you could instantly set up for a grab. They couldn't block anything. Like, when you do the other things, they can shield against anything except for a grab. The only way to deflect a grab is with a punch, and when their arms are disabled, they can't do that. So I really, really liked the shock weapons myself. But I don't know if anyone had a particular type of weapon you liked.
No, not specific.
Ribbon Girl. No, actually, I like the bird.
The bird on Twin Tail?
Yeah.
Or on Master Mummy?
No, Twin Tail.
Okay, yeah. We'll get to that. That was an
Twin Tail
electric.
bugs me.
That was electric.
Because...
Okay, we'll get to Twin Tail. And the popper, which is by far my least favorite weapon in the entire game. I believe they're the lightest weapon in the game, and this is the big thing, is that if an arm is heavier than another arm, it will deflect it, and the heavier arm will continue going through. If they're the same weight, they'll deflect each other, and then they'll both be stopped. So the popper is deflected by everything. It is the quickest arm, but it's not that much quicker than anything else I found. The other thing, and this is the worst part, is that the popper comes out of this like thing, this like
popper.
Party popper. It comes out of this party popper,
Well, how
and the
original.
actual pop is not that party popper. It's the thing that comes out of it, and the party popper is so big on the screen you can't actually see where the thing that comes out of it is. It was bad design. Just anyway, that's the popper.
The only good thing about her is the fact that she can jump pretty much endlessly. You know?
Yeah, that's
Jump and dodge. That was what she was good for. She doesn't have a lot of attack power. She's just fast, so you can get in a lot of attacks.
She does like a lot of damage when she does a grab, right? Like when
Yeah.
you land, right?
So this is the thing with this.
She like throws them.
She's got a
around.
pretty unique grab that she actually does not do any damage herself. It's when she throws them that it does damage.
So she can hit other players.
So then-
or actually,
So yes, that's what happened when we were playing. Is that in a 2v2, you grab the character, you can throw that character into another character and do damage to the character that's thrown into. So you actually double up the damage.
there's been so many times where I've KO'd someone just because like I threw another person into them, and then
Like-
they KO'd.
So that was very interesting because I don't think any other character does
So then
that.
that's like-
Literally jump up in the air, dodge, and then grab.
Yeah.
Like her whole thing is just
I
grabbing.
felt like you did most of your damage through grabs.
Yeah, that's like the only.
And you're doing
damage you could do.
very, very well. That's Ribbon Girl. She's speedy.
Also, she has the popper because she's a pop star.
Is she the one singing the theme song to Arms at the title screen?
There's that canon. Like people, like it's not confirmed.
It
but-
doesn't sound like her. You can hear
No.
what she sounds like in game, and it doesn't sound like her. Next is Ninjara.
He's
characters.
cool because when he dodges, he disappears for a bit.
That's correct. That's his specialty. And if you asked me, that was not very useful at all. That was
No.
until
Not at
people
all?
started getting good at it. So if we'd filmed this last week, I would have said Ninjara is the worst character in the game. He is the bottom tier. Because when he dodges, you can see before he disappears where he's going. While he's dodging, he like any other character while they're dashing, they can send a punch out while they're dashing. He cannot. And what I was finding is when Ninjara was dashing, I'd say, okay, he's dashing there, send a grab, and almost every time I would grab these Ninjaras, and there's just like an army of Ninjaras that I'm just grabbing everyone. Like, yeah, let's just go. And so I felt like it was like his ability is not that good. But similar to how Min Min works, where it deflects punches when she dodges in the air, punches do go through him. And I feel like he's a little more time than Min Min does, and we'll get to Min Min, but I did find that as people were getting better at him, I found it harder to actually hit him with a regular punch, because I'd be throwing a punch and then he'd react to it. Because at the beginning there's a lot of people just using it as sort of like, you can't see me, but I was like, no, I know exactly where you're going to show up. But afterwards, when people started reacting to my punches, I saw Ninjara getting a lot better. That's my thoughts on Ninjara's special ability. Master Mummy's special ability was to
not get like not to flinch.
Okay, so
right?
so that's they said that, but that's every big character.
There you go.
Oh.
He's very slow, but he does a lot of damage.
His actual special ability was that when he shields, he heals.
Like 10 health each.
But you do like 90 damage per hit.
On charge.
Well, that's where it's good in the 3-player mode. You let 2 people fight themselves, and then you heal yourself.
I saw Master Mummy do very well in 3-player mode, but otherwise, if you're trying to grab, or trying to shield, people are just going to grab you. Like, I did not see anyone effectively heal with Master Mummy.
The thing is, you can grab him out of his shield.
Yeah.
So
I felt like, as far as a special ability, it was not very useful. On that note, his arms, his first arms, which I think has something to say, is that the Megaton, I believe, is the heaviest arm in the game. It will deflect any other arm. I'm pretty sure.
Probably. Like, maybe like similar arms that have like a different element to them might be the same thing, but
I think it's like the buff in comparison to like the toaster. When it's charged, it's bigger than anything, I think. And I know Min Min has a similar, the Megavolt or the Gigavolt.
I think it was Mechanica that has that.
No, it was Min Min. She had the thing that was similar. It was electric type.
Yeah.
But I'm almost positive that the Megaton was larger than it. And you would often deflect the Gigavolt and go through it. So, Master Mummy I'm pretty sure, has the heaviest arm in the game, which allows him to go deflect any punches and go straight through them. I don't know if people can get good enough at that to make him worth playing, because it's very slow. His arms are very, very slow. I played a lot of Master Mummy at the start, and then I slowly went away from him, because, like, at the start I really liked deflecting the punches.
Like, he was a good character to play in when doing, what was the target practice mode? Skill shot.
Skill shot, yes. You use the Giga, or the Megaton?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, that, like, usually would just
I guess actually we get a lot of targets, yeah. So, I mean, in other modes, maybe. In the fighting, I don't know. I feel this could go two ways. Either he's too slow, and just people will always outclass him in speed, or it's going to take a lot of skill, but once people understand how to use him properly, being able to deflect every punch is going to be a huge advantage for him. So I don't know how that's going to go. His secondary arms, and this is the big thing with Master Mummy. I feel like the only thing worth talking about is his Megatons, because his other arms, he doesn't have a particular special ability. He's slow, and his other arms are like many other arms of the game, and you could get those with another character with a better special ability. And then he has a Phoenix, which is a fire bird that will curve around. And now, Tori, we were talking about this. The birds and the boomerangs, you were saying that they're very similar.
No. Did I?
You said that they both can be curved around, right? Like, they can function as the same? Like, yes.
So the bird more goes like that.
Upwards?
Yeah, sort of.
This is the big difference I find. They're definitely not the same. They both curve well. That's their advantage. The one big thing I found with the bird is that you can't control it after it gets to its halfway point. So basically, you have this arm, and this is something I really like about the birds. It has this arm. There's a bird on it. You shoot it. The bird actually goes off the arm when the arm gets like halfway to the person, and it continues the rest of the arc however you've set it up. Whereas with the chakrams and the boomerangs, you can still curve it even like no matter how far it is through its glide. But I don't know if anyone saw this. When the bird actually launches off the arm, there's a bird's nest underneath it. Did anyone see that with little chicks in it?
Really?
No, I did not see that.
Yeah. Okay. I'll put a video.
That's so
I'll put a
cute.
picture up in the video. But that was cool. So that was a little touch I liked. I think Min Min is next. Was the dragon arm. It goes halfway distance, takes a bit of time, and then it shoots a laser that just does a straight laser forward.
It can actually be curved.
Oh, Can it? Okay,
Yeah.
it can be curved.
It's very slow, but yes,
Very
it's
slow.
possible.
Did you play with the laser? Because I played a lot of Min and I only used the
laser one hand,
Gigavolt.
chakram in the other.
Okay, I played Chakram and Gigavolt. I, when using laser, thought this has got to be the worst weapon in the game. That's what I said.
Really?
Yes, because it's
I liked
so
it.
slow. It goes
No.
out and then it fires.
Yeah,
Like,
but
You have to anticipate. Robert, you're bad at that.
the way that I played was I would
Anticipate.
shoot the laser and then immediately go with the chakram, so then the chakram would hit, and then by the time that it hit, the laser was ready to go, and then shot at him. It would deal like 100 plus damage. Because like I would
maybe
like,
if you combo them.
Because like I was always in the air getting the charge off and then doing it, so like it would consistently do a lot of damage. And like that's how I usually got like most of my perfect games.
Okay.
Couple.
Well, we'll maybe give the laser a little bit of
I
hope.
liked it a lot.
But personally, I was like, this is so slow, and it doesn't do as much damage as the Megaton, which is quicker. This is the thing. I felt the laser was the slowest weapon in the game, personally. But I don't know. Mechanica, her special ability, which is not why anyone played her, but she can actually hover in the air, and I don't think a lot of people knew this.
I found that to be very useful to like, cause like I could just stay in the air and then like my charge was ready, and then I would have like a bit of extra time before I hit the ground. So, and I was still technically considered flying, so I could just dash, and then I would get a lot more mobility that way.
But then people know where you are.
I felt she was slower in the air though, so like.
Yeah, but then like the dash was like it made up for that. I mean, I don't know.
All right,
That's how I played it.
Okay, I don't know. I played a lot of Mechanica, mainly for her first weapon, which is the.
I played it for the
Revolver.
hammer.
Well, okay, the hammer was good. I played hammer left hand, revolver in right hand, but that revolver, that was what was winning me games. It's similar to the retorture that Master Rami has, where it just shoots 3 sort of missiles towards the enemy, but this one has an electric base damage, so it will stun them. And I felt like I was very commonly stunning the enemy, and not only that, but you can hit the enemy's arms. I found out, like, even if it's not charged up, if you just hit the arms, it will apply the effect to the arm and disable that arm. And I was finding I was consistently doing that with Mechanica and disabling the enemy. So I don't know, I really like the revolver on Mechanica. Hammer, this was
That was my favorite.
This-
One of my favorite.
I feel like this was like when the game first started, all the noobs were like, oh yeah, hammers.
This was OP in the volleyball thing.
It was OP in the volleyball, and we already explained that. But it was similar sort of to the Slap-O-Mander. It was just slower and did more damage, where it shoots out, it deflects a lot of things. It's a pretty heavy weapon, and then you can choose if it hits them on the side or hits them straight down. But I found that was consistently hitting with it. It was pretty hard to dodge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very hard. Like it was very hard for the opponent to dodge. I was like getting the.
No, it's
hits
called the
all
whammer,
time.
not the hammer.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's the only hammer. So.
Whammer is better than hammer.
Like I would hit. Like I had that going, and then also the homie missile in the other arm, and then like boom, and then it was like 190 damage every like few seconds. It was great.
So I gotta ask you about the homie because I didn't use it very much. Do you control it still?
I mean, I treated it like the same way I treated the laser and chakram on Min. Like one's very slow weapon, one very fast weapon. It was like the very fast weapon. Like,
Okay.
I didn't know. I didn't. If it was doing the homing thing, I wasn't noticing it. Too
Yeah,
well.
I didn't notice the homing on the homie either. So who knows if
What
that
a
actually
waste.
who knows if it actually does anything? It does damage. That's what it's
I
there
mean,
for.
maybe it homes in when it's charged, and like even then, I was still like in the air a lot, and I still didn't notice it.
Yeah, I know it explodes when you have your.
Yeah.
Yeah, it explodes, and that does knock back and a lot of damage. And I guess even if you miss, that still hits them. Like if you miss by just a slight bit and it hits the
yeah,
ground, it
yeah.
still hits them. So, I think that was the only one that exploded, other than
The
Headlock's
Testpunch.
special.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, go to Twin Tell, which actually was not available the first week of the test fire.
That was cool.
She's has an ability where she like slows people down, but I didn't notice it.
Yes.
Missed her.
It was when you had
Either.
charge. I'm pretty sure. Like
It
when-
charged at the same time. When you were charging, it the way it's explained is because she's a movie star. Her celebrity status immobilizes the competition. Anyways, there's like these little like yellow flower petals that come out of her, and the opponent's arms slow down when they're coming towards her. I did notice this.
I noticed it, yeah.
But it almost gave you it gave you a little extra time to react. That's all it did. Like, it did not significantly slow down the arms. Like,
really? Like,
it would be too OP if it didn't.
yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, when I first heard it, I was like, wow, that's like,
better.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you
I
find?
noticed that I was able to dodge it barely, but still.
Oh, you're dodging. I was trying to deflect. So maybe that's the issue. But her arms. I probably right now Twintel is my best character, I think.
Really?
And I'll get to that, but this is because of her arms. I don't really care for her slowing arms effect that much.
Right.
This is why I like Twintel. The parasol. So I really like deflecting punches, and the parasol is just made for deflecting punches. It doesn't do a lot of damage. It's mediocre in speed, but it's really big.
I thought it went like slow and then super fast, right? Or was it the other way around?
It like spins.
Yeah.
I know the barrier helixes go slow and then fast.
Because I felt like it was not like most of the other arms that I was playing with.
Oh, it's definitely very different.
Like I mean, in terms of like speed.
It's hard to judge how fast it's going because like the depth, like you're seeing,
right.
Like, yeah, I don't know, but I found like this very consistently. It deflects a lot of arms. It doesn't go through though. It's not very heavy, but it basically equals out almost every arm. I think I'm pretty sure it can deflect anything, but it won't go through. So I was using that just defensively, and if by chance, like for example a grab, it will deflect a grab and still go through a grab. So any arm does that. So if they try a grab and I go with the parasol, I'll still do a bit of damage when it hits. And with my special, it will still do wind, knockback, and damage when I get the special. Anything else to say on the parasol?
No.
All right, the Thunderbird, and this is probably what made it. I really like the deflects, but the Thunderbird allowed me to still get those stuns because it was a electric type weapon, and still let me stun the enemy, disabling their arms just like I could do with Mechanica. And so with that combination of the deflections and the Thunderbird, I like really liked Twintel. And then the Thunderbird is like the bird we were mentioning earlier with Master Mummy, where you send it off in a curve and then it continues that curve around and it comes back to you. All right, and finally, there is Helix. Man, I definitely feel like Helix is like top tier. Like, if you know what you're doing, Helix is where it's at. So this is the interesting thing is his special ability is when he jumps and holds his jump, he like stretches out and he's still standing on the ground, so he's actually a larger target than normal, but he like is higher up.
He has
so
that height advantage.
He has the height advantage. And that's actually significantly more useful for him than it is for a lot of other characters, and we'll get to that in a moment. The other thing is that when he dashes, he actually sinks into the ground, making it almost impossible to hit him for a little bit.
Right.
And I feel he's one of the most unique specials. I feel like once people start really playing Helix, people will get really good at this guy. And you'll be playing him differently than you'll be playing any other character. And that's mainly because of his one arm, the barrier, which we will get to. But first...
It's called the Guardian.
Or the Guardian.
Not the barrier.
That's okay. First is the Blorb. And this is the one I was talking about. When it hits you when it's charged up, your screen just fills
By
with
far the weirdest
ink.
weapon.
I don't think I understood this weapon. I guess the idea is it bounces along the ground.
Yeah.
But sometimes I threw it and it didn't even hit the ground.
Maybe it's like how long you... I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if you were playing with motion controls or not.
I was.
Sure.
Yeah.
You were, okay. Because maybe without motion controls, it was like... Maybe like the longer you held down the button, the farther it would just go in the air before it hit the ground.
Yes.
His arms are DNA.
Yes.
Yeah.
Double helix.
Yes. He's
I
called...
didn't know that.
So if you want his...
That's cool.
his
They
backstory...
did it.
His backstory is that he was created by accident when they were researching the gift of
Aw,
arms.
Poor Helix.
And so yes, his arms
Like
are
a
a
rainbow.
double helix of DNA, and that's why it's called
Awesome.
Helix. So the Blorb bounces around the ground. I think it's pretty good weight, but since it bounces along the ground, you're not going to be deflecting it with
Yeah,
with it.
it'll be rare.
But that's the other thing, is that it's very hard to deflect this weapon. It moves pretty slowly, so you can dodge out of the way, but it curves very well as well. Like it's
an oddball.
everything. Like, he has just the weirdest weapons. So the Blorb, that's interesting, and I think
Weapons for the weirdest character.
if you can charge that up though,
He's special.
he
Leave him
is.
alone.
If you can charge that up though, like that's where it's at, because you just hit their screen and it's just covered, and it's essentially as good as the disabling them with the electricity, because they can't see anything coming. Like
Right.
they can randomly punch, but the likelihood of that actually working is low.
I never had that happen to me. The ink on the screen.
Not a lot of people played him.
That happened once.
I had
I
him
played
twice.
him. He was cool. It's my friend.
Next is the Ice Dragon, which is similar to Min Min's Fire Dragon.
Cool
I don't
as
know.
well.
Once again, I did not like the dragons.
Well, we
weird.
don't
I didn't get to play.
like
I didn't play the dragon on Helix mainly because I didn't like. I tried it with the
I played the
that with the
the
guardian.
blub and
Yeah,
the
so-
dragon.
I mean,
I feel like before you understand how to properly play Helix, that's the combo: the
Yeah.
dragon and the guardian.
Right.
Oh.
And we're gonna get to the guardian because this
The
is
blub
this
and
is
the dragon.
game defining. This guardian here, this is like a completely different game when you're in a battle with a Helix. So, anyways, we talked about the we talked about the dragons. Same thing. It's only ice, so it'll freeze them when it's charged up. Now, the guardian. So what it does is you actually have to when you first punch it out, it creates a slow-moving shield that moves forward, and this is pretty large, so you can deflect most punches that don't curve around. If you hit it again, it will start speeding up and it'll ram into the opponent for a small amount of damage.
Right.
But while it's in the air, it can't be deflected. It deflects everything. Anything that hits it will just be pushed back. But it also deflects all of your own punches if your punches hit it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I saw people doing pretty effectively was using the Ice Dragon to go off to the side and then curve around their barrier while the barrier was protecting them. But I didn't see anyone do this, but I feel like the correct way to play Helix: send out his barrier, use this jump, stand for a height advantage, send out the blub over top of the
Or even
guardian.
just use Ice Dragon over top, but
Well, yes, but I think the blub is better than the Ice Dragon. So, anyway, I don't know for sure, but I feel like you can get
Pretty cool.
very effective at with the way he changes his height is sending the barrier out at one height, and then sending the other weapon out at the other, and
I think the best combo would be 2 guardians.
I saw someone playing that. They didn't win.
Oh.
The
Well,
match went to time.
They were playing it correctly.
All right, so that's all the characters. I think the final thing we were talking about is the stages. So first one,
Oh!
every
The stairs.
okay. Well, we'll get the stairs. Every character has their own stage to play
There's, like,
with.
the basic one. There's the stairs.
So you called the basic one, but it's Springman's stage. You call him basic?
Yes. Yes, I am. So there's the basic one, and there's the stairs.
Okay, wait. Basic. There's some things
Right.
to this. So the Springman stage, there's all these bumpers at the side that if you jump on them, you fly, you spring off of them.
Boing.
It's a square.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not
It-
very exciting.
It wasn't very exciting, but it was balanced. Unlike Ninjara's stage.
The
The
stairs.
stairs.
This, I can't believe that this went through this. Someone was like, yeah, it's the stairs. And one person starts higher up and one person starts higher down. Or higher.
Lower now.
Whoa! Someone's a little crazy
You
today.
tried.
Anyways, apparently there's a height,
Higher down. Sorry. It's really
okay,
funny.
whoever is higher on the stairs has an advantage. And one person starts at the top of the stairs and one person starts at the bottom.
Right.
So I find this stage
What they were
very
thinking though is
imbalanced.
I think that they were thinking that you would go into the middle or someone would go up to the top and someone would go down to the bottom.
There's enough space
Yeah.
on that stage that
That's
it could have
usually what I
started
do.
you in the middle of the stairs.
No.
There is enough space. That's how they in the four player free for all. That's how you
No.
start, and there's enough space. There's more
Yeah,
space than there is
maybe.
in Springman stage. Anyways, I'm not a fan of that. I am not a fan of the stairs.
Well, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind the stage because I was usually like I would just keep moving. I didn't really care
Yeah,
where I started.
yeah. I didn't feel like it was that big of an advantage, but even so, it was not
I mean,
particularly
I preferred
exciting.
Start at the top, but starting at the bottom was just fine, just as fine.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
It wasn't particularly exciting either. Like, There's just constant height advantage.
Constant angle. Whoa.
Yeah, I don't know. The Helix stage, where there's a bunch of test tubes lining it. And this was my favorite, because you could hide behind those test tubes and send punches around, and the center was sunk in and the sides were upright, but like it was through the whole stage, and I found like there's a lot of interesting plays that would go on in that stage. And then if you punch the tubes enough, they'd break. And I actually got some really interesting plays. I think it was earlier when I was playing Master Mummy, where I'd crush the tube. I knew that it was right on the other side of the tube. I'd crush the tube with one hand and then instantly punch with the other, and they wouldn't see it coming. Like they immediately get hit by it, and I was like, yeah. Or like, I remember one time they were trying to do the same thing. They crushed the tube, and I instantly start my special, and then I just hit like everything on the special, and that was at the point where people started getting good at dodging specials. So I really like that stage. Everything we wanted to say about Arms for the time being. I don't know if anyone had any final thoughts. My one complaint is that when you're playing with 2 players, is that they would alternate you back and forth between matches, even in game modes that didn't need, like, you could be teamed up in. And
like instead of like doing a 2-on-2, they would do 1-on-1.
That's right. I
Really
saw matches between 2, like a group of 2 and a group of 2, where they didn't do a 2v2. They did a 1v1 with one person from each.
If you think about it, it's kind of different. Like, it's mechanically different.
Oh, it is mechanically different, but it makes one person not
sit out.
Like it makes one person sit out, right?
Right, but like if it's like in a party setting, that'd be like.
Yeah, I don't know.
It makes sense in a party setting, but like if it's just 2, like just only the 2 players, and like.
I think I understand, like, if there's
sucks.
1 player against a group of 2, like, sure, create those matches. That's fine. Don't like wait for another player to join the other guy. But I think if it's a group of 2 and a group of 2, just put them together, because they will like.
Like, and I saw it, like, I wasn't being like, even if there was like I fought one person, and then the match would disperse, but everyone else was already in a match, so I'd just be sitting there.
Yeah. And they won't let you match against the same person twice in a row.
Like, twice in a row, right.
Which I think they should have let you do that, but in a different mode. But
They do. Remember, we played with that group of people, we fought them, and then we played volleyball with them after.
But it switched up the teams. Like, did it not? I think I didn't get to play the second time. We played 2v2.
Oh.
And then it switched the teams up. Anyways, I don't know. That was interesting. I am hoping that they handle the ranked differently, so that you can't see what the other people are using in the lobby.
Right.
Which I'm sure they will, but who knows?
Yeah. I think it's gonna be like you say you're looking for a match, and then you just do something in single player, and then it'll pull you out of your match when it's ready.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that's all for Arms. As I said, I had high expectations for this game, and I wasn't disappointed.
I had low expectations.
Oh,
It's pretty good though.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 game.
So I'm pretty excited for the full release, and definitely when they say they're releasing more characters, and I'm hoping every character comes with their own stage as well, and presumably more arms as well. And so this is an exciting new franchise. And I see this really picking up. I don't see it. I don't know. Do you think it could be as big as Splatoon, or?
Like,
it's gonna be bigger.
Like, I feel like the fighting game community will
Splatoon's
will adopt
elitist. I learned that word from Steven. I did it.
Oh, okay. Well, we got our signature Steven.
The fighting game community is gonna adopt it. Just make its own thing.
So it looks like we're all excited for this, and we'll probably be getting more coverage on specifics. We'll update you on
this
what
wasn't specific enough.
we'll do more updates on how I feel about different characters once I've played them more, once the actual game releases, and we'll be good. We might have a little series on Arms, but I think that's all for today.
An hour-long video of each character. Get ready, guys.
Yeah.
Careful. Don't make promises, Robert.
I think that's all for today. I'm Robert.
For day.
Yes, for day.
Bye.
I'm Lucas. Bye-bye.